Now we get underway with the second of the E20 heats, and here is your starting grid. Junior Jonsson once again starts from pole position ahead of Spencer Braum, who picked up the win in the opening race of the day. Then we have Philip Loacker and Tomasz Ibsen on row 2. Daniel Sabula, who had a drama in the opening moments of the first heat, will start again from row number 3 on the inside. Joining him will be Charlie Turner. Row 4 will be due to be George Holbrook, not being able to make it out, I believe. Thijs Dams in 8th, ahead of Victor Sundberg, Mats-Johan Overhoff, with Andreas Mattis starting from pole position in E20 Masters on 11th, ahead of Andrew Lloyd. Cameron Crockett due to start 13th, but not showing on the timing at the moment. Niels Lilia, Gilberto Loacker, Hector Ramirez, Joshua Graham, Harrison Whitcomb, Christopher Holst, Arthur Lorimier, Antoine Lemieux, David Blanco, and Frederick Lemieux rounding out the grid. Kaz Pauldermans had a quick chat with the Dutchman from Utrecht. He will be, I've actually given him the opportunity to come and join me in the commentary box a little bit later on for the final heat here later on today. As we had this morning when Project E20 kick-started proceedings of Heats Day, again it will be a standing start. So once the flag marshal moves from the front of the grid, E20 Senior and Masters will then be given the red lights, and once they go out, we will be racing for heat number 2. Then we'll have a secondary start. Flag marshal out from the front of the grid. 7 minutes on the timer. Red lights on the gantry. Are we ready? Lights are out. We're off and racing. Again, a good start by Spencer Braum, but this time Junior Jonsson has the better run of him, going through into the Bruno Ferrari S's. Philip Loacker looked to have gotten up into second position early doors in front of the driver from the United Kingdom. As now the E20 juniors line up on the grid for the start of their race. So the lights go on and off for E20 junior. Good start by the front row of the grid as they make their way through the Bruno Ferrari S's. However, at the front end of the field, drivers making their way through into the Fullerton S's. And then into Bobby Game Corner. Leading the way this time, it's not Spencer Braum, it's Junior Jonsson from Sweden in the 7.53. Spencer Braum in second position. In the meantime, the 6.07 of Harrison Whitcomb has jumped to the front of the field in E20 Senior. Jonsson has a lead of just over 0.3 of a second in front of Spencer Braum. Charlie Turner, touch and go there for Thijs Dams as he centred up the inside of Philip Loacker going into the midpoint of the curbing on the inside of the banking up towards the Litchfield Bridge. Luckily enough, Thijs Dams got away with that one. However, Spencer Braum now takes the lead off Junior Jonsson, and through on the first hairpin also goes Charlie Turner from the United Kingdom. So it is a British 1-2. Now, there is a battle for the title in E20 Senior, but as in a build-up to this weekend, BRP Rotax have kindly offered another ticket to the weekend winner. Very much the same like we had in Wackersdorf a couple of years ago, when Hannes Morin took the overall weekend win, and then we had a wildcard ticket that was then given to certain Mr. Ellis Spiezzi of the Electric Renegade, currently running now in the Next Gen Cup, run by former STCC driver Frederick Lestrup. Now we have got a slight problem for the number 805. Gilberto Loacker has gone straight on the approach into the Bruno Ferrari S's, and looks like the cart has shut down, so the 805 is out of this race. So a real shame for Loacker there, running in the yellow and white livery. The only driver that might have twisted Steve Chapman's arm to put the Kraft Motorsport sticker kit on it was Mats-Johan Overhoff, who's now up into P5. Spencer Braum, in the meantime, is leading. Charlie Turner was just over 2.5 tenths of a second behind in P2. Jonsson, in the meantime, has dropped to 6th position. Now, Mats-Johan Overhoff, I spoke to him before qualifying. He said, well, I'm about a second off the pace. I said, well, it's very, very different when you go racing instead, isn't it? Taysdam's closing in on Tomas Ibsen as they head underneath the Litchfield Bridge through Uncle Tyrone's banking. Oh, someone's gone hard and straight on into the barriers on the right-hand side, into the barriers off of the right-hand side of the Bruno Ferrari S is just before the bridge. So yellow flags out. Not too sure who that was, but someone has just gone straight on. George Holbrook did not start the race, so we have got two by the wayside. Can't make out who that is. Full course yellow employed for the first time this weekend. So that now neutralises the race. It's a bit like a code 60 in sports car racing. And thank you very much, Michelle Spiezia, for saying, yep, they are watching. So full course yellow. Field has been neutralised. So waiting to just see when they cross the start-finish line who that might have been. So driver is walking away unassisted, which is very, very pleasing to see. And that is Nils Lilja in the 720 from Sweden, it looks like, who's tumbling down the order. So race has been neutralised. And the full course yellow will remain out whilst the Trent Valley Kart Club marshals, who have done an exemplary job this weekend so far, managed to extricate the kart from the barriers on the right-hand side of the chicane. So driver is out of the way, off of the direct racing line. The marshals just pulling the cart out of the way. We've got just under 2 minutes to go. Spencer Broom leads the way in E20 seniors. Andreas Matis will have Hector Ramirez from Chile right with him in the battle for E20 Masters. Harrison Whittingham currently leads the way in E20 juniors ahead of Heat 1 winner Joshua Graham. So it's the boot on the other foot, so to speak. So once we get prepped and the full course yellow goes in, we will have the green flag, and Spencer Broom is backing up the field. Now he's starting to bolt. Now is he going to use the boost operation? Extra 4 kilowatts of power out of the final corner. Green flag waves, back underway we go here on E20. And lap 6 underway. Spencer Broom, he did the old hold them back and wait for it and then punch it and then keep people napping. And Charlie Turner was nearly half a second behind him on the restart as they cross the start-finish line. So Nils Lilja out, Gilberto Loaca out, so 20 drivers still going. Lunge up the inside of Charlie Turner through the first hairpin. That was from Dams. Turner got the cut back through, and now Dams looks up to the inside, bounces off of the curbs, nearly clatters into the sidewalls of Charlie Turner, but the Brit stays ahead for the moment. Junior Jonsson in 4th, Tomas Ibsen completing the top 5 at this moment in time. So heading on to very shortly what will be the penultimate lap of this race with 22 seconds on the timer. Spencer Broom looking to make it 2 for 2. He won by just over a second last time around. As it could be the fact that Joshua Graham could also get 2 for 2. Matis looking very, very strong in the number 887. He's pulled away to the tune of 1.7 seconds off of Hector Ramirez from Chile as the timer has hit 0. This time around, we will get the last lap board out. Dams this time, well, he's been passed by Junior Jonsson and has got behind him Poland's Tomas Ibsen. And now it's an absolute frenzy at the front end of the field in E20 Junior, because Christopher Holst has now overtaken Joshua Graham for the race lead. A little bit of jockeying between Tomas Ibsen and Junior Jonsson in the battle for P4 and 5. As this time around, as they come through the Mike Wilson complex here at PFI, last lap board being shown this time. Spencer Broom is over 6/10 ahead of Charlie Turner. That gap has now been truncated to half a second. Remember, the boost function on these E20 karts can be used for a full 5-second deployment, as there is a bit of a switching around of positions. Tomasz Ibsen and Taze Dams. Dams down to 5th. Ibsen runs wide coming out of turn 4. As they go down into the first hairpin. Oh, little touch of side pods and sidewall between 4th and 5th. And Taze Dams gets through on Tomasz Ibsen. Now they've got Mats Johan Overhoff, Philip Loacker, and Victor Sundberg not too far behind them either. 5-kart train for 4th place as the leaders make their way through the exit of the Fullerton S's for the final time. Through Bobby Game Corner, now into the Mike Wilson complex. This time around, it's going to be nip and tuck. It's not going to be a significant advantage due to the full course yellow earlier on in the race. But Spencer Broram, the number 765, makes it 2 for 2. Charlie Turner, 2nd position, 3rd in the previous heat. Junior Jonsson, this time 3rd place, 5th in the opening race of the weekend. Taze Dams holds on to 4th ahead of Tomasz Ibsen. And it's Mats Johan Overhoff, Philip Loacker, Victor Sundberg, Cameron Crockett, and Canada's Andrew Lloyd that round out the top 10 in E20 Senior. And what's more, the top 10 overall. Another win on the books for Andreas Mattis from Germany in the 887 for E20 Senior Masters, ahead of Hector Ramirez. Joshua Graham, it's 2 for 2 for the youngster from the United Kingdom, winning ahead of Christopher Holst, Arthur Lorimier, and then Antoine Lemieux, David Planko, Frederick Lemieux, and Harrison Whitcomb. Didn't quite make it to the end of the race, it looks like. Daniel Sabula out on lap 5. Niels Lilja with a hefty whack into the right-hand side of the barriers on the Bruno Ferrari S's. And Gilberto Loacker on lap 2. Unfortunately, the kart coming to a halt heading into the first corner. And he went straight on up the grass verge and pulled to a stop.